The Prime Initiative.
Here in the Prime Initiative, we clap cheeks when we need to, right? We hold people accountable. We make sure that all the bullshit gets exposed, especially when it comes down to that of first responders and veterans and just anything that particularly will affect California state and or the country, right? You got to expose the hypocrisy. That's just how it goes. But on the flip side of that coin, we also need to give credit where credit is due, which leads me to one of my favorite channels that I have to and would love to share with you guys. Now, it is no surprise to anyone, especially those that live in the West Coast, that things have kind of turned into dog shit in California, right? Because for years, if not decades, it's been under a particular party, Democratic Party, right? And just like anything that Democrats and particular people on the left will touch, it turns into dog shit. It's like the opposite of the Midas touch. Instead of touching something and turns into gold, you guys just touch something and turns into dog shit. But I mean, in case you guys are new to this channel, we talk highly about all that stuff in Los Angeles County and in California. But what about on the East Coast? What's happening on the East Coast, right? Now on the East Coast, they are going through the same shit. And you know what? I love this channel simply because look, here's the thing. If you think we have it bad here on the West Coast, East Coast is a whole different beast. And again, you have to give credit where credit is due. Now, one thing that I do have to mention, when shit does hit the fan in California or in the West Coast, we come together, right? For the most part. That's what we should. That's how it works. We come together and we fight particular evils and expose the nonsense. But the men and women in New York and especially the East Coast, those are some tough people there. I gotta say, I have every single time on a personal level, every single time I work with someone that is from the East Coast or New York, whether it be a veteran or law enforcement officer or just someone that's just visiting from the East Coast, hey, you don't fuck with them. You do not fuck with them. They are some tough people, and I love it. They tell you things how it is, I've learned to appreciate that. I've learned to, as well, you should too. I mean, you turn on legacy media and you get fed nothing but fucking bullshit 24/7, right? When it comes to the people of New York or the East Coast, they tell it to you straight. And I love it. I've learned to appreciate that, like I said. One of the biggest things that I love is their accent. Every time I walk down the street or on my work and I hear that accent, New York accent, I'm like, oh, fuck. Hey, whatever you want, sir. you know? So let's take a look at this particular channel called New York's Finest, Retired and Unfiltered. I love it. I love it. These guys, again, they tell it to you straight. Let's take a quick look at one of their videos, and I'll put the link in the description below. Gotta love that. Love those bagpipes.
And to that piece of lieutenant that's always on his podcast, bash us, him.
Gotta love that. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Okay. Before I hit play on this, I gotta say, I've talked to these two gentlemen here, and they are they have this exterior to them, right? Like you look at it, you're gonna hear them talk, you'll be like, oh shit, I'm not gonna mess with these guys. But these guys have the heart of gold, man. Like these guys are sweethearts. I know they're probably not gonna like that I said that, but you know what? They are, without a doubt, they're legit people, and that's what you want to surround yourself with, right?
Eric Dim, Most Complaint Cop, NYPD, 265 Police Live Series. Along with me is John McCarry, the founder and co-host of the podcast, retired lieutenant. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, my friend. We got a bunch of messages from members of the NYPD talking about the appointment of Kaz Daughtry. I mean, you guys have seen all the memes. Most of the memes we haven't made. We just shared. People send them to us. And, it's having a large effect on morale and the nepotism is more glaring than it's ever been. And
okay, you see that? we just had a conversation. We always have conversations pertaining to nepotism in law enforcement, especially that of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, LAPD, and just the surrounding agencies in California. It's a plague. It's something that completely and utterly destroys certain things, and it should not happen in law enforcement, especially in law enforcement. Nepotism runs rampant everywhere, but in law enforcement, there should be no place for that.
The New York City Police Department, and I think that he's just a highlight of that. So I think we should get into that, talk about that. And so, what are your initial thoughts when?
Well, I think what's interesting about this particular case, if you and I have been extremely expressive on social media, especially Twitter, Instagram, about this specific appointment. And I think, unfortunately, some people have the wrong idea to think that this is a diversity, equity, and inclusion appointed promotion. And that's not the case in this particular situation. John and I have been pretty expressive and, again, adamantly going to say that this is a case of extreme nepotism.
You see that? People getting promoted simply by nepotism. If it's not fucking DEI, it's nepotism, right? Which is not fair, obviously, because, we have a lot of hardworking law enforcement officers out there, both men and women. And imagine this, for those of you guys, for some reason, who can't understand, and I hear your messages. Now, I'll put it to you like it's in simple terms, okay? Let's get away from law enforcement for a little bit. Imagine you work at Target or Nordstrom's, Starbucks, okay? I'm going to tear your ass apart, Starbucks, by the way. Imagine you've been there for 5 years, 10 years, I don't know, whatever. Let's narrow it down to 5 years. You're a worker at Target for 5 years. You work at the the TV department, whatever it's called, electronics, and you're a hard worker, man. You show up every day on time, never call out sick. You give excellent customer service, which is fucking rare at Target, and you are a hard worker. Right? You pride yourself on that. You help out your partners and everything, right? All of a sudden, you notice that there is room for an assistant manager or a manager in your own department, and you've been there. You've helped out with sales, and you apply for it, and as well you should, because you're a hard worker. And all of a sudden, they make an announcement saying like, "Hey, we have a new manager for the electronics department. It is my son, right here, Mr. Joe Blow," right? Joe Blow is like 20 years old or whatever, no experience whatsoever. But he got the job because his fucking dad is the store manager. And now that little shit is completely and utterly telling you what to do. He's fucking up the department. He doesn't deserve that whatsoever. How would you feel about that? Right? It's fucked up. Same thing is going on in law enforcement nowadays, but to a whole different level. It's almost comical if you really think about it, because here we are in Los Angeles County, and these gentlemen are all the way in New York. And it's the same fucking thing, right? Let's go back to it real quick.
It just happens to be that the appointee is black, but has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with diversity. Right. This is 100% about nepotism, some type of connection with Jeffrey Maddrey, who's the chief of the department for the New York City Police Department, who happens to have been MIA for the past few months. We haven't heard a word from him. But again, I want to say I think it's a complete extreme amount of nepotism.
Absolutely. I mean, let's just talk Kaz's career real quick, right? He was an active cop somewhat, but he didn't experience what the average rank and file of the New York City police do. He didn't.
You see that? So it's a plague. It's a plague for sure. But I'm not going to steal their fire. I'm going to go ahead and put the link at the bottom below. They do have an Instagram. They have a YouTube. They have several other social media platforms. Give them a shout out. Watch their episodes. It's a reminder that not only this is happening everywhere, but at the same time, you guys are not alone. this shit that's happening in California, it's happening in New York as well, you know? But God bless these guys for speaking the truth. This is where we give credit where credit is due. Again, the name of the channel, New York Finest Podcast. Again, I'll leave the description in the bottom below. Until then, guys, keep fighting.
The Prime Initiative.